Jake had trained for years to become an astronaut. Now he was finally on his first solo mission. His ship landed on a strange planet far from Earth. The planet was covered with green forests, tall trees with colorful leaves and strange glowing flowers. The sky was a soft purple, and two suns shone above. Jake stepped out of his ship. He wore his spacesuit and helmet, but his heart was full of excitement. He looked around, curious about what he might find. His mission was to explore and collect samples. The planet was called Zyra, and scientists said it might have signs of life. Jake walked slowly through the forest. Birds with bright feathers sang in the trees. Small animals with shiny fur ran past him. The air smelled fresh and clean. Everything seemed calm and peaceful. After some time, Jake saw a small clearing ahead. It was like a circle without trees, with soft grass and flowers all around. The light here was different, soft and warm. Jake felt a strange feeling inside, like something important was about to happen. Suddenly, a figure appeared at the edge of the clearing. She was tall and graceful. Her skin was smooth and light blue, and her eyes were large and kind. She wore a long dress that sparkled like stars. Jake could see a silver crown on her head. She was beautiful, but not like any person Jake had ever seen. The figure walked toward him with slow, calm steps. Jake's heart beat fast. He tried to speak, but no words came out. The alien queen looked at him with deep, gentle eyes. Then she turned to a group of aliens standing nearby. They were watching silently. The queen smiled softly and said in a clear voice, "This is my husband." Jake blinked. He could not believe his ears. The queen's words made no sense to him. Husband? Him? How could she say that? The other aliens looked at Jake and then at each other. Some smiled, some nodded. Their faces showed respect and happiness. Jake felt confused, but also curious. The queen's smile was warm. He sensed no threat or anger. Instead, it was like she was welcoming him. Slowly, Jake removed his helmet. The air here was safe for breathing. The queen did the same, and her face became even more kind and friendly. One of the aliens, shorter and with bright green skin, stepped forward. He made soft sounds, and a small light appeared above his hand. Jake watched carefully. The light changed into images, pictures showing words and feelings. It was a kind of language Jake had never seen. The green alien pointed at Jake and showed a picture of a home and family. Then he pointed at the queen and showed a picture of a queen and her people. Finally, he pointed at the two together and made a heart shape. Jake understood the meaning. The queen's words were part of their culture, a way to welcome someone as family, as a close friend. The queen took Jake's hand gently. She looked into his eyes and said, "Welcome." Jake smiled back. His fear melted away. For the next few hours, Jake walked with the queen and her friends. They showed him their home, a beautiful city made of crystals and plants. The buildings shone softly with colors like blue, pink, and gold. The aliens moved with grace and peace. Jake noticed how their faces always showed calm and kindness. They did not rush or shout. They helped each other with simple gestures. The queen explained things with images in the air. She showed Jake how their people lived together, cared for nature, and respected all life. Jake shared stories about Earth, too. He told them about his family, his home, and his dream to explore space. The queen listened with interest. She smiled often. She said their people had waited a long time for a visitor from another world. That night, Jake stayed in a small crystal house made for guests. The queen's people gave him soft food to eat and a place to rest. Jake looked out at the purple sky. 2 suns had set, and many stars shone bright. He thought about what had happened. He was still surprised by the queen's words. "This is my husband." He did not understand everything yet, but he felt something new, a chance for friendship, hope, and adventure. The alien queen had accepted him, and maybe this strange new world was about to become his second home. The next morning, Jake woke to soft light filtering through the crystal walls of the guest house. The air was cool and fresh, filled with the faint scent of flowers. Outside, the alien city was waking up. Jake could hear gentle sounds, soft, singing, quiet footsteps, and the hum of life. He dressed quickly and went outside to meet Queen Lyria. She was waiting for him in the garden, surrounded by strange plants that shimmered in the morning light. Her blue skin glowed softly, and her eyes sparkled with warmth. "Good morning, Jake," she said in a voice like a gentle song. "Today, we will learn to speak with each other better." Jake smiled. He wanted to understand everything about this new world. But he knew the language of the aliens was very different from any he had learned on Earth. Lyria led Jake to a place where several aliens gathered. They were of different shapes and colors, but all moved calmly and peacefully. One of them, a tall alien with silver hair, stepped forward and gave Jake a friendly bow. "We use many ways to speak," the tall alien said. "Not only words, we use pictures in the air, feelings, and actions." Jake watched closely. The alien raised his hands and glowing shapes appeared above his palms. A shining circle with moving pictures told a story without words. Jake realized it was a kind of telepathic language. The queen smiled at Jake's surprise. "It is not easy to learn," she said kindly. "But you have patience." Jake nodded and tried to copy the alien's hand movements. At first, his hands felt awkward and clumsy. The glowing shapes did not appear. The aliens laughed softly, not mockingly, but with joy at his effort. Lyria stepped beside him. She gently held his hands and showed him how to move. Slowly, a small light appeared between Jake's fingers. He smiled wide. The aliens clapped softly. Over the next hours, Jake practiced with the aliens. They showed him images of everyday things: water, food, stars, and family. Jake tried to send pictures back. It was difficult, but he felt he was learning. The queen stayed by his side. She told stories with pictures and feelings, showing Jake the beauty of her people's past. They had lived on Zira for many generations, in peace and harmony with nature. Jake listened, amazed. He thought about Earth and how often people there forgot to care for their world. As the day went on, Jake and Lyria walked through the city. She pointed to buildings and explained their uses. The library was a place of quiet knowledge. The garden was a place for growing food and healing plants. The meeting hall was where the aliens gathered to share ideas. Jake was curious about their technology. Lyria showed him a small device that looked like a smooth stone. When she touched it, it glowed and showed moving images. It was their way of recording memories and stories. Jake realized that although the aliens' ways were different, they also valued learning and sharing. During a break, Jake sat by a clear blue pool. The water reflected the sky above. He thought about his home on Earth, his family, his friends, and the dreams he had. Lyria joined him and sat quietly. After a moment, she reached out and touched his hand. Jake felt a calm warmth spread through him. "You are different," she said softly, "but we are the same in many ways." Jake smiled. "I want to learn your ways and share mine." The queen's smile grew. That is how friendship begins. Later, the aliens invited Jake to try their food. It was strange, but delicious. Sweet, fruits, crunchy roots, and soft bread made from plants Jake had never seen. They ate together, sharing stories through pictures and gestures. Jake felt a growing bond with these peaceful beings. They accepted him not as a stranger, but as a friend and guest. As the suns began to set, painting the sky with soft pink and orange, Jake and Lyria stood on a balcony overlooking the city. "Tomorrow you will meet more of my people." Lyria said. They will welcome you, but some may be cautious. It is normal. Jake nodded. He felt ready to face whatever came next. That night, Jake dreamed of stars and distant worlds. He saw himself walking beside Lyria, exploring new places together. The feeling of hope and belonging filled his heart. For the first time since his mission began, Jake felt he was not alone in the universe. He had found a place where friendship could grow between different worlds, and that was only the beginning. The morning sun rose gently over the alien city, casting soft light on the shimmering buildings. Today was a special day. The people of Zira were preparing for a festival of unity and friendship. It was a celebration held once every few years to welcome new friends and to honor the bonds between all living beings. Jake woke early, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. Queen Lyria had told him about the festival the night before. "You will meet many of my people today," she had said. "It is a time of joy and peace." Jake dressed quickly and made his way to the central plaza. The city was already alive with activity. Aliens of all shapes and colors moved gracefully through the streets, carrying bright flowers and colorful ribbons. Music filled the air, a soft melody made by strange instruments that sounded like wind and water. Lyria was waiting for him near a large crystal stage decorated with glowing vines. She wore a beautiful dress woven with threads of silver and blue. Her smile was warm and welcoming. "Welcome to the festival, Jake," she said. "Today, you will see the heart of our people." Jake nodded and followed her into the crowd. People greeted him with gentle bows and kind smiles. Some reached out their hands to touch his arm lightly, a sign of friendship and trust. The festival began with a grand dance. Aliens moved together in patterns like waves on the sea. Jake watched carefully, trying to understand the meaning behind the movements. Lyria took his hand and invited him to join. At first, Jake felt awkward. His steps were clumsy and he almost stumbled, but Lyria laughed softly and guided him. Soon, Jake found the rhythm and moved with the group. He felt a joy he had never known before. After the dance, the queen led Jake to a large table filled with foods from Zira. There were fruits that shined like jewels, breads that smelled sweet, and drinks that sparkled with colors. Jake tasted everything with wonder. The flavors were new, but delicious. While they ate, Lyria told Jake about the meaning of the festival. "It is a time to celebrate our connection to each other," she said. "To remember that even if we look different, we share the same hopes and dreams." Jake smiled. He thought about Earth and how often people there forgot the simple truth of unity. As the day went on, Jake met many aliens he had not seen before. Some had wings like birds, others had skin that shimmered like water. They all welcomed him with respect and kindness. An older alien with silver hair and deep eyes approached Jake. "I am Elder Zoran," he said gently. "You honor us by joining our festival." Jake bowed his head. "Thank you, Elder. I am grateful to be here." Zoran smiled. "Your courage and kindness have already shown us much. Today, you are part of our family." The festival continued, with stories told through light and sound. The aliens used their special language, images that floated in the air like small stars. Jake watched as the stories of Zira's history and dreams unfolded. He felt connected to their past and hopeful for the future. Near the end of the day, Lyria brought Jake to a quiet garden. The sun was setting, and the sky was painted with pink and gold. The air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers. "Jake," Lyria said softly, "you have done well today. You have shown respect, joy, and friendship. Our people see you as one of us." Jake looked at her, feeling warmth in his heart. "Thank you, Lyria. I feel honored." The queen smiled and took his hand. Tomorrow, your journey will continue. There are more wonders to discover and more friends to meet. That night, Jake lay under the stars, thinking about the festival. He had felt the kindness of a new world and the power of connection. For the first time, he believed that humans and aliens could live together in peace. And with Queen Lyria by his side, he knew anything was possible. The morning after the festival, the sky over Zira was calm and clear. Jake woke feeling hopeful. The warm welcome from the Queen and her people still filled his thoughts. He knew his journey was only beginning, and today he would face a new test. Queen Lyria met him outside the guest house. Her smile was gentle, but there was a serious look in her eyes. "Jake," she said softly, "some among my people have questions. They wonder if you truly belong here." Jake nodded. He understood. Every new member must prove their heart and mind to the elders. "I am ready," he said. Lyria led him to a large building near the city center. Inside, a group of elders sat in a circle. Their faces were calm but full of wisdom. They greeted Jake with respectful nods. Elder Zoran, the silver-haired alien Jake met at the festival, spoke first. "Jake, to be part of our people, you must show your understanding of our ways. Today, you will take part in 3 challenges." Jake listened carefully. He felt no fear, only determination. The first challenge is empathy, Zoran explained. You will be shown a problem. You must find a way to help. Jake nodded. A young alien approached, holding a small, fragile creature in its arms. The creature was sick, its skin pale and eyes weak. Jake could feel its pain. He gently took the creature and examined it. He remembered the medical training from Earth and carefully looked for signs of illness. Then, he used a small healing device Lyria had given him. After a few moments, the creature opened its eyes wider and moved a little. The aliens watching smiled softly. "You have shown kindness and care," Zoran said. Next was the challenge of problem-solving. Jake was led to a garden where some plants were wilting. The aliens needed help to save the plants, which were important for their food and medicine. Jake studied the soil and plants. He noticed the ground was dry in some places and too wet in others. Using a small tool, he adjusted the water flow. Then, he carefully rearranged the plants so each could get enough sunlight. After a while, the plants began to look healthier. The aliens nodded with approval. "The second challenge is wisdom," Zoran said. "You have shown good judgment." The final challenge was cooperation. Jake was joined by several aliens to build a structure for storing food. They had to work together, sharing ideas and tools. At first, the work was slow. Jake and the aliens spoke different languages and had different ways of doing things. But Jake remembered what Lyria had taught him about patience. He listened carefully and watched how the aliens worked. Then, he suggested small changes that made the work easier for everyone. The aliens smiled and followed his ideas. Together, they built a strong, beautiful structure. When the task was done, the elders stood and clapped quietly. "You have passed the challenges," Elder Zoran said. "You have shown empathy, wisdom, and cooperation. You are worthy to be part of our people." Lyria stepped forward and took Jake's hand. "I am proud of you," she said. Jake felt a deep happiness. He had not only passed the tests, but also learned more about the values of this world. Later, Lyria and Jake walked through the city. They talked about the challenges and what they meant. "Our people believe in peace and kindness," Lyria said. "But we must also be strong in understanding and trust." Jake nodded. "I see now how important it is to listen and learn from each other." That night, Jake looked up at the stars. He felt closer to the aliens than ever before. He knew his place was here, with friends who accepted him for who he was, and he was ready for whatever adventures the future held. The days that followed the challenges were filled with new hope and promise. Jake felt a stronger connection to the people of Zyra and to Queen Lyria. Together, they worked to build something more than friendship. They wanted to build a bridge between their two worlds. Each morning, Jake woke early and met Lyria in the garden outside the Crystal Palace. The plants around them glowed softly under the gentle sun, and birds with bright feathers sang in the trees. It was a peaceful place, perfect for conversations about the future. "We have much to learn from each other," Lyria said one morning as they sat beneath a large tree with silver leaves. "Your world is very different from ours, but there are ways to share and grow together." Jake smiled. "On Earth, we have many cultures and ideas, too. Sometimes we forget to listen, but I want to change that." Lyria nodded. "That is the start of wisdom." Together, they planned how to bring their people closer. Jake showed Lyria pictures of Earth, its tall buildings, wide oceans, and busy cities. He told stories of human history, inventions, and dreams of exploration. Lyria shared stories of Zira's history, how her people lived in harmony with nature, using their knowledge to heal and create beauty. She showed Jake how their technology worked with the natural world instead of against it. One day, they invited a group of Zira's scientists and elders to meet Jake. The room was filled with quiet excitement as Jake demonstrated some simple Earth inventions. He showed them pictures of airplanes and explained how humans traveled through the sky. The aliens watched with wonder. They had never flown like that before, but they understood the desire to explore. In return, the scientists shared their knowledge of Zira's energy, a clean, natural power that flowed from the planet itself. Jake realized this energy could help Earth if shared carefully. Lyria watched the exchange with a proud smile. "This is the future," she said softly, "where two worlds learn and grow as one." Outside the meeting hall, children from Zira played together with Jake. They laughed and shared games, learning words from each other's languages. Jake felt his heart grow warm. These small moments of friendship were the strongest bridges of all. One afternoon, while exploring a new part of the city, Jake and Lyria came across an ancient tree with glowing roots. It was a sacred place, said to hold the memories of Zira's ancestors. Lyria touched the tree gently. Suddenly, soft images floated in the air. Scenes of the past, stories of courage, kindness, and hope. Jake watched in awe. He felt the deep history of this world and the responsibility to honor it. "We must protect these stories," Lyria said, "and add to them with our own." Jake nodded. "I want to be part of your story." The days passed, and Jake grew more confident in his new home. He worked with Zira's engineers to design ways to connect the two planets, not just through technology, but through friendship and trust. The Queen's people respected Jake's kindness and curiosity. They saw in him the best of humanity. One evening, as the sun set and stars began to twinkle, Lyria and Jake stood on a balcony overlooking the city. "Do you think people on Earth will accept this friendship?" Jake asked. Lyria smiled. "They will if we show them the way. Together we can be a light in the universe." Jake reached out and took her hand. "Then let's begin." Together they dreamed of a future where humans and aliens could explore the stars side by side, a future built on respect, understanding, and hope. And it all began with a simple smile from an alien queen. The days on Zira had passed like a gentle breeze, soft and full of promise. Jake had learned so much, and the bond between him and Queen Lyria had grown stronger with every sunrise and every star-filled night. One morning, as the two suns warmed the crystal city, Jake and Lyria stood together on a hill overlooking the vast forests and sparkling rivers of Zira. The air was calm, filled with the songs of strange birds and the scent of blooming flowers. "I have been thinking," Jake said quietly, "about what comes next." Lyria turned to him, her eyes shining with hope. And what do you think? Jake smiled. I want to stay here, not just as a visitor, but as part of your world. Lyria's smile deepened, and she took his hand gently. Then you are welcome, Jake. You are more than a guest. You are family. The words warmed Jake's heart. He felt a peace he had never known on Earth. Here, among these kind beings, he had found a new home. News of Jake's decision spread quickly through the city. The aliens celebrated with quiet joy. They decorated the streets with glowing ribbons and soft lanterns that floated in the air like stars. Music filled the night, a melody of hope and friendship. Jake was given a special place in the Crystal Palace, a small room filled with books, light, and plants. From there, he could see the city's heart and feel its pulse. But his days were busy. Together with Lyria, Jake helped plan new missions to learn about the universe. They dreamed of journeys to distant stars, where humans and Xerians could explore side by side. One afternoon, Jake received a message from Earth. It was a simple greeting, full of hope and curiosity. The people of Earth wanted to know more about Zyra and the aliens who had welcomed one of their own. Jake felt a spark of excitement. The bridge between worlds was beginning to grow. At a special ceremony, Jake stood before the elders and the people of Zyra. Queen Lyria spoke of the new era, the time when humans and Xerians would walk together toward the stars. Jake is a symbol of hope, she said. He reminds us that kindness and understanding can cross any distance. Jake looked out at the crowd and felt proud and humble. I am honored to be here, he said simply. Together we can build a better future. The crowd cheered softly. It was a sound full of promise. That evening, Jake and Lyria walked through the glowing gardens. The stars above seemed closer than ever. Thank you, Jake said, for seeing me as I am. Lyria smiled. Thank you for opening your heart. They stood together, hands clasped, ready for whatever adventures the universe would bring. Jake knew that this was only the beginning of a great journey, a journey of friendship, discovery, and hope. And with the Queen's smile lighting his way, he was ready to face the stars.